Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 173.
173.
Of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by Theme Park Connection in Orlando, Florida.
2 locations. And if you go there in person, you'll get a 10% off discount if you mention Mousesteps.
Or online. You
online
can put
as
it in
well.
the box.
That's right.
And we're going to be there probably on Friday. I think we're going to stop by.
Sounds good.
And PixieVacations.com. They are our travel agent sponsor. They can handle any kind of vacation, really, including the Disney Cruise Line and the Flower and Garden Festival, which is coming up very soon.
You like that festival?
I love the festival, and I think everybody should go.
Also, Maple Leaf Tickets, our official ticket agency, the best deals on tickets in town. Be sure to check them out. This week, we're going to talk all about our cruise on the Disney Fantasy, everything except Star Wars Day at Sea, which we covered fully last week.
So essentially, we're going through 6 days of the cruise, and it was nice. I mean, we had a good time.
Yeah, I always love a Disney cruise. The Fantasy is a ship we had never been on. We'd been on all the other ships, and here we go. We are getting ready to board the ship. A little advice: earlier the better.
Well, the boarding starts around 11:30, and I think, what was it, about 10:45 a.m. was our arrival time is what we chose.
That was the earliest available. When you check in, do your online pre-check-in thing, it gives you the option to put a boarding time or arrival time, I should say. So that's my suggestion, is take the earliest you can. It seems to correlate a little bit with when you get on the ship, I think.
Well, I like that, when we got on board, we were able to make some reservations right away. There is Minnie Mouse. The atrium of the Disney Fantasy, it looks like a peacock. It's a Art Nouveau style. And I really enjoy the carpeting and everything.
And there's guest relations, and I'm showing that to just reiterate what you said. Go straight there and make sure you get any kind of fast passes. Like we got the Princess Meet fast passes, Anna and Elsa.
They handle the Disney Junior character breakfast as well.
So it's good to go straight to the front desk and get all your business done first, and then go have a good time, go have some food, and enjoy the cruise. I should mention, we're not covering food on this episode because we fully covered everything on last year's episode about the Disney Dream, and it's pretty much the same. We covered Paulo and Remy and everything, so check that out if you want to know about the food.
And this is our stateroom. It was an aft room, and it cost about the same as any of the other veranda rooms, and I'm like, oh, it looks like it has a really big balcony, and I was kind of interested in that. So that was the best part, except for we had a lot of rain, so it wasn't like we could be out on it all the time.
Oh, but I should say that rain, there was a roof, like a little over roof in the
for
balcony.
A little
so
rain,
that kind
it
of
was
helped
good.
for
Yes.
You could go out there in a sprinkle.
But during
not a monsoon, which we had.
We did have a lot of weather the whole time, which is also why we didn't end up in Castaway Cay, and we'll talk about that later. But this is a room, and it looks like a standard stateroom. I don't think it's really different than any other ones that we've been in before. But except for the balcony.
Well, I think you've really spoiled us, because this is my favorite room that we've ever had on any cruise I've ever been on. So, I've never stayed in any of the big fancy suites or anything like that. But this really worked out well for us. I love the balcony. We're going to look out there in just a minute.
It's funny because I looked online, and there are some complaints about having an aft room, like vibrations, which I didn't notice at all. Like not more or less than any other room that I personally remember.
Only time I remember vibrations is if we were backing into something or the thrusters were on. Other than that, it seemed very quiet, and actually more quiet than a middle room for me.
Well, we had a lot of weather as well. So because we had a lot of weather, you would expect more issues. But I thought it seemed very stable. The whole ride seemed very stable to me. There's our balcony, which was fantastic. I would take this room again in a heartbeat. I would look for this room.
By the way, the room does not come with a chilled rose regali sitting there when you first open. We sort of embellished that part of I had to find a place to put the bottle of wine.
Also, there were been complaints. There's like soot that comes down, but it was so little. It was not very much, at least not in our stateroom. And the nice thing was, I don't like a lot of sun on me. I don't like to sit out in the sun. So it was really nice just being able to take these chairs and pull them back, and just having a lounge chair on a balcony. I've
wonderful.
Never had that.
Sit in the shade.
Yeah, I've never had that. So I just, we watched the sunset from this room, which I don't know if we're going to be We may have shown it last time.
How do you like that?
There it is. And the thing is, if you look up, you can see other people who are, just in the public areas. So it's not like you can't enjoy the sunset from the ship, in other areas. But it was nice to actually have the balcony for this.
Right. I would highly recommend it. At least for our purposes, it worked. And I think going forward, we would try to request one of these aft rooms.
Well,
again.
you don't request it. You just look for it. And I just can't imagine having a regular balcony again. But I'm a little spoiled.
There was a restaurant 1 floor above us, and then 2 floor above us was Palo. So whenever we went to places like that, it was very convenient.
Well, Cabanas was right above us, so 1 floor. It was great.
Another thing I like about the rooms on the Disney Fantasy is the bathrooms are split. So this is where the shower is. You have a sink, you have a shower, and then there's another bathroom, I guess you could say. It has the toilet and another sink and all that. So 2 people can sort of go through the process at the same time.
In most rooms, and this is something that I don't know if any other cruise lines have this, and I love the split bathroom. I think only the standard inside staterooms do not have this, and it's just because the rooms are smaller.
And now we're at Epcot. Actually, we're just kidding. This is something amazing, and this is on the very first day we explored this. What is it called again?
It's called Satellite Falls,
right.
And it looks incredible, and we were like, we're going to get in that.
Oh, we can't wait to go in that.
And we never, not one time did we go in it. It was either the weather or we were busy.
We had very good intentions.
Star Wars Day at Sea, we should have gone in it or something. Yeah, we did, and I can't, in 7 days, we never made it in once.
But
not
what
into
this
the jacuzzi
means is we have to go back.
Yes.
And, they just put one of these satellite falls into the Disney Dream at the latest dry dock, so we can get a quick dream cruise, perhaps. All right, we're sailing away. The sailing away party on the Fantasy, exactly the same as the sailing away party on the Dream, but I do like it. I like the song, and of course, I like the characters.
So much of the Dream and the Fantasy are very similar. So if you've been on the Dream or on the Fantasy, and you haven't been on the other one, they're very similar. I didn't even watch this. I was like, I've seen it.
You wanted to see the dolphins.
I wanted to see the dolphins. I wanted to go to the front of the ship because the ship had already started sailing at this point. And I would prefer they start the sailing away before they actually sail away.
They usually do. I think there was some kind of issue with this one. Perhaps it was weather. But I always enjoyed the show. And, of course, I did need to tape it for this purpose. So I'm glad that I did. It's a fun show, and I enjoyed it.
And here I was, although by now you're here too. This is one of my favorite parts of the cruise is just kind of watching as you leave. And I think somebody said they saw manatees as well. But, this is one of the times that you're most likely to see the dolphins as you're heading out. Although we saw them also on the Star Wars Day at Sea. We saw some dolphins.
Right. You have some really good pictures of dolphins, too. I can't believe that you got that close. They look great.
They were awesome.
But we're saying goodbye to Florida for a week, and we're heading out to sea. Always like this, one of my favorite parts of the cruise. You're just leaving. It's very exciting, and it's fun we always go to the very top, looking out straight forward. It's sort of a tradition to sort of watch as we sail away.
And I think, we're heading into our first rainstorm already.
That was a true story. That was a true story. And you have Art Nouveau here. Again, we're taking a quick look at the lobby.
Like a peacock. Even Minnie Mouse, when she dresses and you meet her, it looks like a peacock.
And here's another tip. When you first get in, if you're doing a Star Wars Day at Sea cruise, they try to get you to take a picture with the backdrop. Just wait till any other time because, as you could see, nobody there.
Well, it's there until, I think the final day. It wasn't up anymore, but it was there for 6 days. So, there wasn't really
this poor lady is playing piano for nobody there.
But we were there, right?
Only us.
But that's okay. I think everybody, can still enjoy it.
And here is the adult pool. Another thing we never got to do. Although I did myself. I did go into the pool there. And I did do the aqueduct. But I didn't get into the jacuzzi, which is... It's outrageous.
When was this? There's nobody in it. Why am I not in this?
This was the morning of Star Wars Day at Sea, and I went for an early walk. I did a Denise this day just to get footage like this.
See, I should have been in the jacuzzi at this time. We're just so busy taking photos and video, and during the nice times that then it would be the bad times, or it'd be busy, and
but feel not bad. We can go to
we'll do another eventually.
We'll do a one that's more of a vacation.
But now I want to do the other thing, Satellite Falls.
So Disney Junior, this was a character breakfast, and you can see they have Disney Junior specialized food items you can order. Although it wasn't really that special.
No, it's similar items, but just like if you go on Carnival and they have that great Dr. Seuss breakfast, that's the same as their brunch.
And there's Jake.
Items.
They really move you fast. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the Disney Junior character breakfast?
Well, this is something you have to book when you arrive on board, and we did, and it's only like 2 days. I think she said 2 or 3 days, maybe depending on the cruise.
It's only at sea days.
Yes.
So it would be your first and your last at sea day.
And the characters came around one time, so you want to make sure you do what you need to do as far as photos.
Sophia the First. Hi, Sophia the First.
It was really, you know what? It was nice. I mean, they don't decorate or anything. It's not, but still, you have the characters, and that's what everybody is there for.
Anytime there is a character breakfast, we're going to be there because it costs so much money to do one of these things on land, and for it to be included absolutely free,
Yes.
why not do it? And you get to meet the big cheese too, Mickey, and I think Doc McStuffins is going to come here. You asked to see her stethoscope. I always enjoy when you ask those questions.
I don't.
Hello,
I don't
Doc.
ask
Can I
for
see
too
your stethoscope?
Well, I didn't know what to else.
For the picture, you did it.
I just wanted to do it for the picture, and it was nice to see all the different characters. And what we'll see in a minute is also Mickey Mouse was here, and so I thought that was a highlight for me.
Well, Mickey noticed the shape of the food item you were eating.
The
there.
waffle,
the
the
Mickey
Mickey
waffle.
waffle.
So he could have been disturbed by that, but
I don't think
he was not at all disturbed.
I don't think he was disturbed.
Yes, he seemed proud of it. I offered him cheese. If you,
He always offers Mickey Mouse cheese.
He's a mouse. I will link.
Mickey might
I will
eat other
link
things
to all
with
these
cheese.
things. No, I think he enjoys the cheese. I'm telling you. So there you go. He notices those nice Mickey waffles, and again, the food was very
there's my
similar
notebook.
to what you will get at any other breakfast on the Disney Fantasy.
Right, and I mean, it was a nice morning. I thought it was, and they treated us nicely, even though we're two adults, having
Two adults with
breakfast
no
there.
kids, that's right.
But I guess, there were other adults there also, so.
That reminds me, in a way, of the Seuss breakfast that we had on
The green eggs
the green
and
eggs and
ham,
ham, except for
yes.
the eggs were not green in this one.
Exactly.
But and they rethemed the animator's palette to Disney Junior. And we saw the animator's palette themed to 3 different ways. It was Star Wars one day, and another day it was Frozen when they had the Frozen characters. It was all ice and snow. So I like how they can easily, with the flick of a switch,
Well, it's
transform
just
the whole...
screens. So, I mean, it's not like,
And colors and lighting,
Yeah, that's true, too. So I didn't even notice as much the lighting, just mostly the screens.
So I think it's very nice. I enjoyed it, and I would do that again, absolutely, especially if they had a different themed character breakfast. So now we're going to talk about more of the Disney Fantasy. Here comes Minnie dressed in her harem outfit. We have never seen anything like this before.
No, we haven't seen her in this outfit, and this was on the Aladdin night. So they themed the character costumes sometimes to what is playing in the show,
right. or if it's a formal or
formal
semi-formal night, something like that.
So it's actually really nice that you get so many different costumes for the characters.
Well, Minnie does have quite the wardrobe, because we met her in formal attire, pirate attire, you name it. She has quite the wardrobe on the ship.
Well, Goofy
She needs extra suitcases. Goofy does too, I guess.
Yeah,
Goofy
they all actually have quite a few outfits. So again, this was one that we hadn't seen before.
And I think the Aladdin show was probably my favorite show. There's a lot of different shows on the Disney Fantasy that we had not seen before, including Aladdin and Disney Wishes, which involved Disneyland, which I thought was kind of cool.
Well, the performers are always excellent. I didn't like all of the shows. I actually liked a lot of the ventriloquist and the magician.
Was great. Yes, I did too.
But I did love Aladdin. I thought Aladdin was perfect.
And of course, it's a cruise, so you're always going to have your towels greeting
Towel
you.
animals.
Towel
Well,
animal.
I hope they continue it. I know at Walt Disney World, I don't think in the regular rooms there they do anymore.
So let's talk a bit about Pirate Night. There was some confusion if there would be a full Pirate Night, because this was a themed cruise, Star Wars Day at Sea cruise. Yes, they did have a Pirate Night, but they did not have a pirate menu in the restaurants, and they didn't have the Buccaneer Blast fireworks. Instead, the fireworks for that cruise was the Star Wars fireworks.
And we didn't receive bandanas, which I don't need bandanas. Our stateroom attendant didn't always know what to put in the room, so maybe they gave them out and we didn't get them.
Right.
But overall, I didn't really experience.
Well, we went to Palo this night, and I just
Right.
ran there to get coverage for the show. To be honest, from other guests we talked to, it seemed like it was a pirate light night. It wasn't the full pirate night that you'd normally get.
Well, the buffet was on Star Wars.
Right, they did.
night,
There was no
not on
buffet,
the-
no pirate-themed buffet or any of that stuff. You're
So
right.
if you're going on a cruise, just know, one of the cruises, just know that.
It'll be lesser of a pirate night. Aqueduct. Now, I went out there at night to check out the aqueduct. That's pretty cool. I think it's a lot of fun at night. I have done it at night before, not this time, but I did do the aqueduct on
During
this
the day.
cruise on a nice warm morning. So I chose wisely.
You need to get one of the holders controllers for the GoPro so that you're able to
Yeah,
get a
they
little video of
denied
it.
my GoPro. Even though I had it attached to my arm, it has to be physically attached.
You need a physical attachment for that.
So now let's talk about the adult area, Europa.
Okay, this is the one area of the ship that is really different to me than on the Disney Dream.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I'm not a bar person at all. Not a bar person at all yet. I thought this was just beautifully done. We didn't even have a drink. Again, when would we have time, I guess? But it's like, it should have been more time than we had in 7 nights.
We were kept very busy.
What
The
were we
Star Wars
doing?
stuff did
doing?
take a lot of time.
But, I would have had a drink here. It was just lovely. I mean, I like this area. I think it's La Piazza.
This is La Piazza, yes.
And it's supposed to be reminiscent of Italy. And you have O'Gill's over here, which is an Irish bar, an Irish pub.
And a nod to Darby O'Gill in The Little People, I believe, too, which
I'm sure,
stars
yeah.
a young Sean Connery. We'll have to have you see that film someday.
Well, I saw there was something on the wall that reminded me of Mr. Limpet, but what is he from?
I don't even know where Mr.
I don't
Limpet is
remember
from.
where he's from, but I don't know if it was supposed to be that or not.
And this is where we met Chewbacca.
Yes,
So how do you like that?
because
Chewbacca hangs out here.
Chewbacca's Irish.
That's right. He's very Irish, and he has a friend, a leprechaun friend. I don't know why Chewbacca was here, but
They put the different characters in different bars, so they actually use these the bars for different things during the day. And there is what I thought reminded me of Mr. Limpet.
Great detail, though. Great detail here. I loved it, and we will definitely have to go back and go to all of these bars. See what
I don't need to go to all of them. I would have
Of course,
liked
you'd
to
go poor going to all these bars. It's not cheap either.
I would have liked to have gone to Ooh La La because it's a French. I just love the soundtrack in there, so that would be where I would want to go.
And here's the Cave of Bathrooms, as
That's
you call it.
Well, I didn't call it that. Somebody online called it the Cave of Bathrooms, and I thought that was very apropos because these are beautiful restrooms also, and I bet you didn't get video of them, but
I did not go inside, if that's what you're asking,
yes,
to the John.
but they're beautiful. Like you could have locked
That would have been
it.
nice if I had walked right in. Hello, let's take a
Well,
look
you
around.
lock it behind you. They're beautiful in Spanish style.
There's
And
a lot
gorgeous.
of the Spanish music playing as you walk through the hall of bathroom. I thought it was very nice. Very nice. Nicest bathrooms on the ship.
Yes, I walk through here every day on my walks, and I'd walk into the Ooh La La area, which is where we're going into, and this is supposed to be reminiscent of a French boudoir.
Boudoir.
Yes, and I wouldn't. It's like a champagne. It's like you buy champagne here, and I wouldn't have minded, just maybe a drink here. Although it is a little plush for me. I'm not usually this plush a person, but I like the music. After the cruise, I went online and looked for French music. I was trying to find something similar that I could maybe listen to, but I have no idea where this music comes from.
I will find that for you. This is sort of their version of Pink. You can compare it to Pink, which is the same area on the Disney Dream. I like the Ooh La La better.
It's more.
Personally.
It feels more closed off. I mean, you can just like the doors are closed. Like the other ones.
Very elegant.
Yes, and I like that one.
And next we're going to take a look at Skyline. And what was interesting is because it was the Star Wars Day at Sea cruise, whenever you saw London in Skyline, there were Star Wars characters walking about in the London scene. So we're going to show a little of that. And I think
Mickey.
and Mickey as well. Do we know how many different cities? I think it's at least 6 different cities.
I'm not sure on the Skyline. They have the Skyline Lounge on the
Dream.
On the Dream. And we like it. I mean, it's a very nice, to me, it's very comfortable.
Yeah, it's a great, I love this. This is a lot of fun because, again, it's different. If you stay there long enough, you're going to go all around the world. And there are some of the Star Wars type characters.
Is that, I was trying to figure it out. It almost looks like a Darth Vader, but maybe it's just somebody in a cloak. Maybe it's cold out.
Right. It's probably very cold. Oh, there's the mouse kind of appears. I didn't even see this at first. And some other guests, some little kids actually were pointing up and say, hey, it's Mickey. And how cool was that? It's very small. I'm going to go back and you'll see it's not easy to see. He's way up there in the window. So again,
once you know where
effect.
he is, it's pretty easy. But it's just nice to have all these little details that maybe you don't know about that, just make your trip a little bit more fun.
Absolutely. I enjoyed that very much. Now we're going to go in the tube. The tube sort of reminds me of a London Underground, the way it is. The booths even have a strap that you'd hold on to. And that could come in handy if the boat takes on some rocky motion there.
Well, it looks like a tube map on the floor, although it's like one of the stops is Jolly Good, which we just saw.
Yeah.
So they're not actual stops. which I thought was very interesting. But it's all like the seats are like the tickets that you get when you go on the tube in London. And I just like this. I like London. I like taking the underground. And so this was a lot of fun to go into, too.
Right. The theme is great. At night, it's sort of a disco, like a dance kind of place with very loud music. So it's not really our thing. We didn't go there for that purpose. But we did spend some time in here. They had the
Castaway Club.
The Castaway event,
went,
yes.
We just went gold. And so they had a gold platinum event. And they gave free drinks. And
that's right. Champagne. We got to meet Minnie Mouse in there. Also, this is where we met when we went on a short excursion when we went to one of our
Captain Phasma also.
Oh, and Captain Phasma was in here. We did a bunch of stuff in
here. So, there are activities again in these rooms, in these bars during the day.
So now we're going to jump ahead to formal night, and there are Chip and Dale in their formal attire. One of my favorite outfits that they have. And here comes Goofy, all snazzy.
Yes, in his formal attire as well.
So let's talk a little bit about characters. So many character appearances on the Disney Fantasy, especially for a whole 7-day cruise. Unbelievable amount. Why don't you tell us some advice on how to find the character you're looking for?
Well, you want to download the app before you go to sea. Plus, they tell you every day in the Navigator and on a board in the atrium. But also, you want to remember about the characters. They are there for very short periods of time. You might be like 15 minutes, and then, another character might take their place. So if you get in line, you want to be early, usually, for whichever character you want. But sometimes you'll end up meeting a different character because their sets are short.
Right. So even if Chip and Dale are out there and you know that Goofy is coming up and you want to see him, just get in line. Especially characters like Minnie and Mickey up here can have a big line. So you want to plan accordingly for that.
Well, I love that if you see her outfit, it's like the chandelier. So when you're taking the picture, it's that peacock look to her. So this was a really good Minnie, I thought.
And that is her formal attire. That is what she wears on formal night. And Mickey on formal night wears his captain's attire. Captain Mickey does a fine job of guiding the ship around.
And, even though I mentioned they have short sets, we met a lot of characters, even on the final night where so many people are in the lobby, so many guests are there. We met quite a lot of characters. They do a really good job of moving guests through the lines.
And we have at least 25 videos now from the Disney
But
Fantasy
not all
Cruise.
character
Not
videos.
all characters, but there's a lot. So we'll link to that in the show notes. Now, this is one of the highlights of the whole cruise for me, including the Star Wars Day at Sea. This was Animator's palette, but the night they did the magic animations.
Right. It's called, I think it's called Animation Magic.
Animation Magic,
and,
right.
And here we did different drawings, and they tell you have to stay inside the lines.
There you are, hard at work on doing your drawing there.
I really, I really love this. Like, everybody has a drawing. Like, some people at our table didn't want to necessarily do a drawing, but everybody did. And then all of a sudden, it's animated.
Yeah, you don't know. When you're sitting there before dinner doing this little drawing, you have no idea
I didn't know what's
going to happen. And all of a sudden, Mickey comes out and explains, hey, we're going to make your drawing come to life. And you don't know how he's going to do that. He's teasing us here with what's coming up. But when you see it for the first time, it is pretty awesome.
And each screen, it's not like you're seeing everybody's in the room. You're going to see
your zone, right?
Right, the area that you're in, and those are the only ones. So you'll see your drawing several times. And here it goes where they're going to be bringing out the animation.
Yes, here comes Mickey in his sorcerer attire to get this going. And I think it's pretty funny. The very first drawing that Mickey does that it makes come to life turns out to be Darth Vader. I wonder if that was on purpose because it was the Star Wars Day at Sea cruise, but somebody did a nice Darth Vader job. I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, it was, it's fun to see how talented people are, and even
much more than us.
No, I thought mine was fine. What are you saying? Well, that was an interesting one with the
very
bikini.
Interesting.
But then
Baloo would like that one.
I love the music that they chose for this. And just the whole, like, I could do this every night. I just thought it was really a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was tremendous. And I think we're about to see our drawings coming up. And here comes mine. Mine is on the left there with the Mickey Mouse shirt.
Mine isn't there yet, but I'm seeing that lady in the bikini a second time.
That's right. She must, that one must be close to yours. And there's
yours.
Yours.
Mine to
and the blue.
Second, yes.
I like that.
I guess I was just about the only person who probably used a blue one, I guess.
And it's funny because after this, you're going to see this was the really cool part. They meld these characters with classic Disney character scenes from movies. And I love how they interact. You'll see your character make a surprise appearance with the movies coming up.
Oh, am I
Did you
going to
not
see
see
that?
that?
I think I did see it. I mean, this was a couple weeks ago now, but I don't even remember which
I mean,
character
how
it
amazing!
was.
How amazing is that? That's truly awesome. I would love to do it again. And now this is only on a 7-night or more cruise. I even think they do it on the Magic, but they do not do it on the Dream because the Dream only does 3 and 4 night cruises at the moment.
And I think we were in Animator's Palette 3 times that cruise, but this
Yes.
is only one of the nights because Star Wars was one night, and then we had
Well,
just
the first
the regular,
night was the
Crush.
Crush night, and then you're right, Star Wars. So yeah, we had 3 times in Animator's Palette, and I like this at the end. The guest animators
Because they told us to put our names.
And you don't
to
know
sign.
why they're
yeah,
doing
I had
that.
no idea. Well, I guess if you've cruised on here before, you know, but I have
there
not.
we
and I
are.
didn't
How do
know.
you like that? Right by the Dalmatians.
This was one of my favorite parts of the Disney Fantasy Cruise.
And
definitely.
at the very end, they brought you your drawing to keep as a souvenir with a gold star. You got
Where
a
is
gold
it? I don't
star.
even know. I don't even know where it is.
I have it in. I will give it to you.
Oh,
we can
okay.
frame that if you'd
I
like.
don't need to frame it.
Anyway, highlight of the cruise. I loved it. Now we're going to go to Castaway Key. So excited. We wake up. It's the very last day, and we're going to Castaway, but it doesn't look so good.
You know what? I'll say that in the couple days before this, I thought we might not make it because the weather was. I wasn't that excited.
The weather was a little rough.
The weather
The
had-
giant ship was tossed.
Well, it wasn't that bad, but it was. We had not great weather, and the Castaway Key Day was also showing not great weather. So I was like, the night before, I was like, I don't think we're gonna make it.
Yeah, this is not a good sign when you look
No.
out the window.
And I went up to the I don't know what floor, up higher towards the pool area.
Floor 11, you were probably
Somewhere, and it felt like I was in a hurricane. Like I actually had to hold on to the handlebar for a few minutes.
Well, this was a sure sign we weren't going to make it when you see the all the golf carts heading back to shelter.
And they made about 3 or 4 attempts. We actually have friends who they made 4 attempts, but the 4th one they did make it. But honestly, like the day was supposed to be really rainy except for the morning. So by now the weather was going to start turning anyway.
Absolutely.
Worse.
I don't hold it against them at all. I mean, safety has to come first. This is actually the second cruise in a row on Disney that we did not make it to Castaway. So we're kind of used to it now. But it's good. It's good
was
to know
disappointing
that
still.
you know there's no guarantee you're going to make it to Castaway.
Most of the ships will, but you know, I think they don't really tell you ahead of time that there is always a little possibility you won't. So always know that.
So because we didn't make it to Castaway, they brought out the characters, and they had a roaming Captain Hook here, and they also had all the other characters in the outfits that they would have met you on at Castaway Key, and you can just meet them in the atrium. Not at all as good as it would have been, but at least they do alternate. And they
Right.
showed Star Wars: The Force Awakens in digital 3D again. You know, they made a special new navigator.
Right, they always make the new navigator so that, and they'll have, they bring out other activities
Mm-hmm.
to do. So they make sure that there's enough to do on board for
Right.
guests.
They sort of scramble to get to bonus activities. And one of them was an open house in the Oceaneers Club.
Oceaneer Club, and
Oceaneer,
it's
yes.
this is for ages 3 to 12, and we were able to go in because they did the open house. We should have done the open house even earlier in the cruise. Usually on, I think, the first day,
Right.
When you board, they have open houses of pretty much everything.
So we took advantage of the opportunity. You know, it's very nice. It's nicely themed in here. I had not seen this yet, although the Disney Dream recently completely redid their Oceaneers Club with a Star Wars theme and some other things.
Eventually, we'll make it on there again.
Right. And I have a feeling whenever the Fantasy goes into dry dock next, they will upgrade all this.
I wouldn't mind getting on the Dream just to get to Castaway Key because we keep trying and haven't made it in
That's
a while.
right. That's right. I would like to get to Castaway too.
That would be nice. But the Oceaneer Club is really neat. They have the different rooms. They have the ferry room. They have the Monsters Inc. room. They have the submarine. The Toy Story where you have the Slinky dog.
I think it's cool.
If I was a kid, I'd be like all over it.
Yeah, I would love it. I'm
Actually,
an adult. I'm almost
I know.
50, and I like it.
I would, like if they let us go play in there, it'd probably be in there a little, not too much.
It was pretty cool. And here is some of the Toy Story stuff. And there's Slinky Dog. You know, Slinky Dog, kind of like this Slinky Dog, is going to be a roller coaster coming to Disney's Hollywood Studios in Toy Story Land.
I'm not sure when that will happen. We're still waiting
We'll
on Disney
ride
Springs
a
to
roller
finish.
coaster Slinky Dog. That will be good.
I hope it'll be fun.
And there is the pig. What's the pig? Do you know the pig's name?
Isn't it Ham?
Ham. Oh, yes, of course.
Hamm, I
Ham.
believe.
And there is Woody's bed. It looks hard. Woody
Well,
must have a
he's
stiff back. I
Well,
guess
he's a toy. It's okay.
That's true. That's true. Anyway, so they brought out the extra characters. I had a fun interaction with Stitch. I haven't even put this one up yet. So much to do.
And we didn't know that characters were coming out. Like, we went downstairs just to kind of walk around and, try to find something to do. And it was like, oh, characters around.
Now, I think the captain chose wisely because the weather took a turn for the worse. Take a look at this upstairs. Although there's still people swimming, but I felt kind of bad for this
Don't
poor...
feel for the lifeguard.
For the
I was gonna say,
lifeguard.
don't feel bad
Not
for
the
the
people.
guests.
The guests know better, but the lifeguard is all
Yeah, they looked
bundled
really
up.
cold.
I mean, it was cold and rainy. I would not go in that pool at all. That
And we
day.
didn't.
We did not. That's true. That's another reason why we never made it into those.
It was a good day to go around the ship and get some photos and video, but this was sort of what our days look like. A number of days.
Yeah,
were
almost
like
every
that.
night. That's the real reason we didn't make it onto some of these things. It wasn't the best of weather cruises.
I mean, there were other reasons too, but just being busy and
Right.
being the jacuzzi would get busy too.
Now they had enchanted art just like they have at the Disney or on the Disney Dream.
And I think it was the same enchanted art. And
Exactly the same. I didn't see any that was different. So I wonder if they just if it's identical.
some of them weren't working, at least not all the time. So I thought that was interesting. And we never did the midship detective agency, which we kept saying we were going to do, and we didn't do that. Like, I don't know what we
We had
were
good
doing.
intentions.
There's so much we didn't do in 7 days.
But you always say that on any
I know.
trip you do. And we did, there's so much we did do. There's a ton
I
that
know.
we did do.
But
and
it's
we're-
like we should have been able to find a few minutes to do the detective game. So I just thought that's very interesting to think about.
So even though we had bad weather, we still had an awesome time. I would absolutely go on another Disney fantasy cruise. And here we go, the sailing, or not the sailing away, the goodbye, see you real soon
Yes.
show.
Well, the characters during the See You Real Soon also meet in the lobby, and only for about 15 minutes. But I mean, we met almost in the two shows because they did it twice. We met almost everybody.
And some advice, I would recommend going to the very first See You Real Soon show. This is one more for the kids that have to go to bed early, but the kids were better behaved than all the adults at the later show. That was kind of a mob scene where this one was more relaxed. I like that they show highlights on the video screen too. Some of the highlights from the cruise. And again,
lot
it was
of
the
Star
Star Wars.
Wars.
Well, it was a Star Wars
No,
cruise.
I thought it was cool to
they
be,
said.
especially Jabba the Hutt, because I thought he was, so much fun.
So do you agree that you found the early show to be less hectic than the
I
second?
did, because all the kids just kind of sat in front of us, where
Very
it was
well
a lot.
behaved.
Yes, a lot more adults were in the other one, so it was harder to jockey for a position where I could just stand behind, a ton of kids who were sitting.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. I mean, we were videotaping, we were photographing. If you are just there to enjoy it, I don't know if it really
everything is
matters.
different for our purposes, but
It was
I
nice having
enjoy
both, though. It was nice having both, and we did both.
So we mentioned food earlier, and the Disney Dream, which we talked about on a couple years ago, and we did that Dream cruise, almost identical. I would say exactly.
And we did two
exactly.
Dream, actually
we did
two Dream cruises
That's
that
right.
year.
So we'll link to that. Also, we have full coverage of Castaway Cay. So if you're trying to plan a trip, you want to know what Castaway Cay is like, you want to know about the food, we're going to link to that. I should say, though, the food here this week on the Fantasy, I would say not quite as good as 2
wasn't.
years ago.
There was, the last 3 nights in the dining room, there was almost nothing for me. So that was very disappointing. And, the other cruises we did were 3 and 4 days, where this, they change up the menu the last 3 nights. And it's like, oh my gosh, there's all this stuff.
They
and
sort
I
of
don't
run out
wanna-
of ideas, I think, is what happened.
It felt like that. And so, but the Cabanas buffet is always excellent, and Palo is always excellent.
Yeah, Palo, phenomenal, as always.
I would have liked to have done the Remy brunch again, but next time.
Absolutely. So final thoughts, my final thoughts anyway, I found the Disney Fantasy to be my favorite of the ships. I like the layout. I like everything they've improved on this one. And I think if they do the improvements that were just done to the Dream, it would be the ultimate experience.
Well, I think, overall the ship is gorgeous. And, just as the Dream is gorgeous, I'm a fan of the larger ships versus the original ones that I think we both sailed on in 98, the Disney Magic.
Right.
They're just so much bigger and more beautiful. So it was a nice cruise.
And one last bit of advice, if you want to book a placeholder cruise, you put down a small down payment, which was $250, and then you have 2 years to actually make the booking for a real cruise, and you also get a full refund if you decide you don't want to cruise
But
at
you
all.
get it like a 10% discount and then a stateroom credit.
Yeah,
so, it's actually,
I think it's a
we
no-brainer.
never did that. Like, why didn't we do that before? But we didn't.
Yeah, we had some advice from other cruisers that we should do that. So
Never thought about it.
We're passing along the goodness. Anyway, that's another show.
Another show.
Thanks to our sponsors, PixieVacations.com, our official travel agency.
And they do all kinds of cruises.
That's for sure. And Maple Leaf Tickets, our official ticket agency, and Theme Park Connection, our original sponsor.
Have a great week.
Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you all next week.